Why does a piece of paper still feel like proof of love, success, or even adulthood? This is a topic that has been on my mind for quite some time. I feel like I do talk about it extensively with friends, but today I wanted to broaden the discussion and chat about it with you. Now, two little disclaimers before I even jump into this. Number one, the main reason that I am recording this is because this is something that I wish someone who was a little bit older, potentially wiser than me, had said to me, whether that be virtually or in person. I think for so long, a lot of the content or messaging that I was receiving was one specific way, and it was very much like, by your late 20s, like you should meet someone, have your first kid immediately. And I kind of fell into the mindset of like, that is the one way to do things. I do think over the span of the last 2 years in particular, like the internet discourse has slightly changed. However, I wish that I had seen this. So hopefully, if you are in that position, this finds you. And the second thing is that I want to make it very, very clear that like I am a lover girl through and through. I am such a romantic at heart. And I think that having these discussions, digging in and getting really honest with myself about what I'm about to share has only made me even more of a lover girl because I feel so centered in who I am, what I want, and specifically like what role this person or that relationship will play in my life. And I think I have so much more clarity around that. And so I just want to get that out of the way before everyone runs to the comments section. So if you're like me, there's a good chance that you at some point, probably if I had to guess, around college age, created a timeline of your life post-grad. And it looked probably something like, okay, 27, 28, get married, have a few years as a married couple to like really explore, do whatever. And then by 30, like you would be having your first kid. And it is hilarious to think about that because I am about to turn, I keep saying that every video. I'm like, I'm about to turn 30. I literally have until November. I've got time, but I am going to be turning 30 this year. And I am nowhere near any of those things on my timeline. And when things shifted in my life and I realized that I was no longer going to likely make the timeline or follow that timeline, I felt this really weird sense of shame or that I had failed and that I wasn't following like what was deemed a successful life for specifically a woman in her late 20s. And it's interesting, if you actually look at the data, marriage rates have declined significantly over the last few decades. Only around half of adults are married today, which is a notable drop from 72% in 1960. And within that, the median age for marriage has increased. A lot of people are getting married later, which is often because of priorities when it comes to career or building up financials. So it's this interesting dichotomy of feeling like I'm alone in this concept of like everyone's getting married but me. But when you actually look at the data, like it's a lot more common than you would anticipate. So in reading a lot of that and thinking about what I was personally going through over the last, year and a half, I started to ask myself, like, why is it that we are so programmed to value marriage? And the one thing that I continuously come back to is the fact that this life event, so whether it's an engagement, your actual wedding day, or then having kids, are some of the most celebrated moments in your life. Like, name another time when you pretty much have everyone you care about in your life in one room. It's likely either like when you're getting married or, not to be morbid, your funeral. So knowing that, it makes total sense why we would place so much value on this thing, because it's like, well, that's when I'm celebrated. And if you're like me and you love a gold star A+, and you have that mentality, your brain is immediately going to be thinking, well, what can I do to like get the gold star? Oh, if I want to get the gold star, I need to get married. So there is that desire for this social validation element around it, for sure. And I think in addition to that validation, also comes comparison culture. So seeing those around you hitting those milestones can make you subconsciously or even consciously feel behind and like you aren't kind of following the pack and what everyone else is doing. And don't even get me started on how social media plays into this, because if you're like me and you're in your late 20s, I feel like every time I open Instagram or Facebook, I am either seeing an engagement, a wedding photo, or a baby announcement. So it's easy to kind of fall into those comparison traps and kind of feel behind when it comes to what everyone else is doing. So me being me, at the start of 2025, I reached this point where I kind of was like, well, how do we change this? How do we obviously value and show up for our friends when those milestones are achieved, but how do we kind of change the language and support system to also celebrate and acknowledge all of the other elements of your life? Because even though I haven't been married, I have had moments where it's like, oh, once I do X, Y, or Z, I will be happier, relaxed. I will feel a sense of peace and achievement. And like, I can't come up with a single time where achieving something, earning something, whatever it is, sort of was the bandage that I needed. I guarantee you, once I got the show or the role or the accolade, was it a quick, fast hit of success and excitement? 100%. But I guarantee you, once a week had passed, I felt like I was back in the same position. So keeping all of this in mind, at the start of 2025, I asked all of my friends, what is your one big thing? So the one big thing is essentially something you are wanting to achieve, finish, complete, and once you do it, I will show up boldly with a cake, with a card, with a party, whatever it is. It's sort of asking the question of like, what's important to you so I know how to show up and celebrate you. And it's really important to actually ask the question and not just assume, because when I asked some of my friends, the things that I would have thought would be their one big thing, like getting a promotion or getting a new job, were not actually what they had told me. Instead, it was like, oh, I want to challenge myself to go get a new yoga teacher certification, or oh, I want to earn my first dollar in my side hustle, something like that. So I asked all of them those things, and then I did exactly that. So when it happened, I either made sure to like write a card, buy flowers, do something that really made it feel like this celebration, because it is. It is a total celebration. And at the end of the day, I think it all boils down to making the people in your life feel seen, because that's what we all want, right? At the end of the day, is we just want to feel seen by the people we love. So obviously this is something that I created last year, and I made an initial TikTok kind of talking about how I was about to celebrate a friend's one big thing, and it ended up blowing up. Like, I think it was in Newsweek twice, it was in a different article, and so many people not only shared their one big thing in the comments or sent it to a friend or said they were going to steal it to do with friends, but a few people actually tagged me in their videos of doing their one big thing. It was literally so cool and felt so aligned with like the mission and impact I want to make in the world, which is just like reminding people that they get to choose, it sounds corny, but their own destiny, and they don't have to follow and fit this mold that we are conditioned to believe we have to fit. I share this because I do think it is a really fun thing to do with friends. You can have like a one big thing party. It's also, from what I have found, a really easy way to connect with strangers. When I went to Paris, I met two new friends and I asked them both. I was like, hey, so by the way, like I created this thing, blah, blah, blah. And I know we like literally just met, but I want to know, like, what is your one big thing? So I can show up and celebrate you and cheer you on and etc. And it was really cool because one of my friends was like, she said, I came to Paris looking for a husband because I felt like that was the thing that I needed in order for this trip to be successful. And instead, I met a best friend and totally changed my mindset on viewing marriage as this pinnacle of success. So to me, that was very, very cool. And it has been like a really quick connector with people around me. So if you've made it to this point, drop your one big thing in the comments, because I would love to know what is on your heart, what you are looking to do and achieve and accomplish and try in 2026. Now, to be clear, I feel like I always make sure to include this anytime I've been interviewed about it for an article. I will be so happy and tears will be shed when any of my dear friends get married, but this gives us something to do, celebrate, and a way to just become closer and closer in the meantime. I don't know why I feel the need to be explicit in saying that, like, obviously I'm going to show up for my friends' weddings. Like, are you kidding? I love a dance floor, but also this is something that I feel is equally important. And also, I think seeing how much it resonated with the internet, and I know that feels funny to say, like, oh, it really resonated with the internet, but I think, you know, it's one thing if it resonates in your friend group and in your circle, but I think when it can really impact and resonate with like the larger population of not only the country, but the world, you have that feeling of like, ooh, not only am I onto something, but like this is a shared experience. That was a really cool reminder of like, oh, okay, more of us are feeling this way than I initially thought. And so it's left me thinking about like, okay, where do I go from here? How do I take this knowledge? How do I take this understanding that I now have and continue to live my life, date, be open to marriage and all of those things? And I think I've really settled on the fact that, like I said earlier, I'm so excited for that moment, but I'm not going to live my life like that is the finish line or that is like when things begin. And I think you can see, if you've been following me for a little bit of time, like the trickle down of that, in that like I do a lot of things solo. I've traveled by myself. I've, built a business, and I've gone and like really wanted to experience life as it is right now and not wait until I necessarily have like a partner to do those things that I think more often than not we associate with kind of doing with someone else. So that's kind of how I have decided to utilize this and move forward in my life personally. Anyway, if you want to know more about the one big thing, I will link the articles about it in the description. Be sure to come hang out with me on Instagram. I feel like I talk about these things more frequently there. I'm working on a post that feels similar to this kind of topic or theme that came to me randomly, and it is the phrase, like the title that I'm working on is like, I genuinely love being single and also still long for a partner from time to time. Like, let's talk about it. And so if you want to take a look at that, definitely head to my Instagram. But that is it for this video. Like I said, please, if you have watched this, let me know what your one big thing is in the comments, because I want to cheer you on. I want to know more about it. And I think there's magic in saying it out loud and admitting that you are going after something and you want to kind of set out to do it. But otherwise, I will see you in the next one. You want to talk about traumatic? Probably going to be an outtake, but a client had to send me this because I was like filming content about like engagement books when my relationship was like ending. It was not great, but now I have this random ass engagement ring that like literally doesn't fit that I'll be probably using for the cover photo of this video. So anyway, cheers.